The Four Magazine, Detroit, baby, we out here. You see what's going on, we activated, we ain't playing no games.
Welcome to another episode of Interviews with the Foreign Magazine, where we go beyond the veil to the ideas, thoughts, and perspectives of each guest that we sit down with. Today's guest, we have a fire, dope, rising brand, clothing brand in Detroit that has been standing out in terms of their message behind the fashion. Today, we got B of Art Imitates Life. What's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
What's up, man? I'm alive, healthy, and free, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All is well.
Man, definitely a pleasure to have you on the platform, man. You could be anywhere, but you on the Foreign Magazine right now.
Thanks for the invitation, my brother.
Yes, sir. To get into it, man, Art Imitates Life, man. That name stands out alone. I kind of want to talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the brand. What was you guys' thought process when y'all was creating this brand?
We wanted to do something bigger than just a fashion line. You know, we wanted to, we understand that art and fashion, these are two powerful forms of expression, you know what I mean, in the culture. And so we wanted to immerse art and fashion, you know what I mean? Art imitates life. We often know that artists, they mirror what they see. You know what I mean? Whether it's love, whether it's hate, whether it's struggle, you know what I mean? And it depicts in their work, you know? So we wanted to, immerse art and fashion and, bring it all together for the culture and take it and go with it, inspirational slogans on shirts, so everything really has meaning, It's just not like, and each piece we put out is to, like you said, make you think, make you feel a certain way, you know what I mean? Puzzle, like, hey, what does that mean? You know what I mean? So we've always been into fashion. As a kid, it's funny, we're here, but as a kid, my uncle was the buyer for Van Dyke's next door, in Northland. And at the time, this was like the biggest store, all the big fellas, the who's, they shopped there. And I was like the stock boy. So every day my uncle would, tell me, hey, do something. Because I'm standing around soaking up game, you know what I mean? And I'm looking at all the big fellas, the Butch Jones, the Holloways, the fly dudes in that era, and they in there buying clothes, you know what I mean? But they were also like the who's who in the culture, you know what I mean? So I've always had a penchant for fashion, and this is, let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When did you guys, what year did you guys, I see, establish 2018? Was that when y'all began to do that?
2018. My partner Biggs, he, lives out in California, Orange County. So, we're out there a lot. So we really started it and it was there, in California. So that's where we were getting a buzz. But, we're native Detroiters. And so I'm like, let's bring it back here. The goal is to, have a flagship boutique here in Detroit. But we're doing something different. I was telling some, how Detroit has always has been, known for dressing, from the so nice for dudes wearing $2,000-$3,000 Lou Miles suits and gaiters. And, so we trying to bring that back. You know what I mean? Get out of just, looking like a mannequin. We trying to really, bring some quality pieces, high-end, couture fashion from, some people that, we're here. We're from here. You know what I mean?
In terms of fashion, as you was just speaking to the fact that, who was it you said?
My uncle.
Your uncle.
Yeah.
And Van Dyke's and you was a stock boy, and you would see the Bush Jones and the Demetrius Holloways come through there. When you think of Detroit fashion, and you look at like the different trends and how far we've come from suits and gaiters to, you know, like the traditional foreign clothing, right, and just urban clothing, period. Where do you see, like where do you see Detroit in that, even in its elevation? Where do you see Detroit as a fashion? Are we leaders in the fashion industry, being that you are somebody that's been to different cities and stuff like that? Like, how do you see Detroit fashion-wise?
I mean, you're going to have people here, you know, that are going to put the clothes on, come out with it. But I think we've lost a lot of creativity. You know what I mean? I remember days, like I said, going to when guys were in the suits. You didn't just go buy a suit, you mixed it up. You know what I mean? You might have got this blazer with these pants and this color shirt. I mean, you freaked it out. It wasn't just like, you know, you're a mannequin. So I think now, I think it's a mental thing that people seek, like white validation. You know what I mean? You need to have labels on, you know, to feel validated. You know, like new artists or new, you know, a new clothing company, they may struggle if you know, hey man, this is my price. A guy, you know you one of the homies, they don't want to pay your price, but they'll go to Somerset and video the whole transaction. You know what I mean? If the guy says $1,700 for a coat, you're gonna give him extra $20. You know what I mean? But a new brand, you know, oh man, you know, I've heard people, you know, tell another person like, man, you know, you bought any clothes from dude? Like, man, he wanna this or that for a coat. Like, man, you know what I mean? We got to change that mindset. Like I said, and then the people that the validation we seek, you see so many instances where they say, hey, I don't even want them in my clothes. You know what I mean? That you devalue my brand. So, you know, we trying to, again, bring some high quality clothes. Like I was talking to you earlier when we first met, you looking at the clothes and no shot at anyone, but I said, hey, feel the fabric of the shirt. You know, this French terry, this the same stuff that a Dior would use. This ain't a Gildan. You know what I mean? So I think it should justify. I mean, it's freaky, it's fly, you know. So we're trying to, again, bring fly back, you know. And, you know, a lot of times, I think like with music, any type of art, you know, Biggie say first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again, a Hove. You know what I mean? So a person, you know, you don't, bad as, you know, because Detroit is our home, we didn't, you know, you don't get the love that you seek initially. It has to get like with rappers, the local rappers. They local, doing shows, okay. But when somebody from another state, QC or somebody, you know, comes and grabs them, now, oh, that's my man. And the same with us. You know, once it takes off, and, you know, we going global with it, man. It's bigger than just a local, you know, brand. You know, we got connects in the UK and, you know what I mean, and London, and, you know, we trying to transcend just a local brand. We want to take it somewhere, you know?
So if you can, talk a little bit about the logo.
Okay, the logo is a peace sign, but the peace sign is broken. And so, you know, it's our goal is to fill in the gap. You know what I mean? Fill in that, you know, the broken peace sign. We want to bring art and fashion and bring so many people together with it. You know what I mean? And we fill in that broken gap. You know, you got the art world, you know what I mean? You got the fashion, you got the music, and, you know, the right element can bring all this together, and that's our goal. One thing we look forward to doing, we want to do, well, we were looking at New York Fashion Week, and they gave us a quote, what it would be, how many looks you would get, and I think the discounted rate was like 17,000. And so my partner and I talked, and I said, man, wouldn't it be dope if we could bring a fashion week here? You know what I mean? Maybe at the DIY or something of that nature. Or if we had an art gallery big enough. And collectively, is so many different brands here. We want to bring all these brands together. You know what I mean? Like, and have a Detroit Fashion Week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so all these brands got a runway, fashion show. We got artists, painting murals or painting pictures or showcasing their art as well. So again, then as well, of course, we're going to bring music in as well. You know what I mean? So these are three different components that we're talking about bringing together. So again, the whole thing with the broken peace sign, we want to be that piece that brings it all together. And so from that, we want to do like an Art Basel, but we want to do, in Miami, they have Art Basel, the fashion, a big fashion weekend. We want to do a traveling Art Basel. So Art Imitates Life will go to different cities. In those cities, like I said, we did the fashion week here in Detroit. We would bring all the different artists, all the different, people in clothing, same thing. Bring everybody together and do like a fashion weekend there, and the individual cities, their local designers and brands would come, and so we go state to state to state with this, flagship boutique, working on a website now. So the clothes would be for purchase, but again, we like taking our show on the road, and everywhere we going, showcase local talent.
Yeah.
Whether it's music, whether it's local painters, whether, you make sculptures and of course the fashion, so I think that's the culture and that's our thing, just immersing everything together.
Man, I think that's really dope. Even to come up with the idea to be a creator in that type of way and not necessarily go to someone else's show and pay that large amount of money.
Right.
When you can build your own ownership, and building your own take you a lot further. And it's not that collabing or working with other people, isn't a good idea, because people do have, bigger platforms. I'm sure it would have been a lot of people that, would have saw the brand and stuff like that. But in this phase or in this stage, it does kind of seem like it would be more impactful for you guys to put on something special like that. And it's a good example of black men or black people in general just showing that we can create and just kind of bringing everybody together, like you say, connecting that broken peace sign.
I'm telling you, man, that's our whole goal, is to be a collective, you know what I mean? Like a magnet, just bring people together. And, a lot of times when you go with big brands, they swallow you. You know what I mean? It's not about you anymore, it's them. So, like again, I think New York Fashion Week, say you get 20 looks. I'm gonna be in there with with people, and 20 times we're gonna get swallowed. But so why not, bring a platform, or create a platform to bring collectively everybody together? You know what I mean? I've talked 3 different genre of people. We got, 3 different genre creators.
Yeah.
We got, the musical aspect, the fashion aspect, the art aspect, and bring them all together. And 2, it's like education, so to speak. You know what I mean? A guy might be into this, but, not really know about art. You know what I mean? Or you might be into art and you might not know about this. You hear this guy's music. Like, oh, that's dope. You know what I mean? So I think it's, that's what we're trying to, that's the goal.
Yeah. So as of right now, are the clothes for sale?
Absolutely. You know, with the first drop, we really just wanted to let people see. You know what I mean? You can run 1 million, Instagram, but I wanted it to be seen. You know what I mean? And so, I've been getting, decent response, but yeah, it's definitely for sale. But we only had a limited edition, and so a lot of people have gotten a lot of stuff. But right now, like what I have on this is like the spring varsity. Right now, we're working on the summer line. You know what I mean? And then right behind that, we fall. So we coming. What I have left, man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been doing Master P. I'm out the trunk. You know what I mean? Again. I think that, it's good to get a buzz, a real buzz, you know what I mean? That's why I'm, delighted to be here. Because yeah, I can go buy a store, get a building and, one spot we was looking at, it was a $50,000 build out and, we could do all of that, but end of the day, we'd be sitting there looking at each other crazy. You know what I mean? Cause, so right now, the clothes are for sale. We had an IG page, Art Imitates Life, Art_imitates_life_Paris. And we're on the gram. And so, you can hit me a DM there. Or, a lot of people know me already, but, I'm pulling up on people,
Yeah.
Yesterday, some big name rapper was doing a video, so I dropped him a bag off. You know what I mean? We had a leather Paris bag, so inside the bag, I had him a kit. So hopefully he wears it, to the video shoot that they had planned. And just trying to get a buzz, but we do have some things available.
That is important. Being around other influencers, like you say, dropping off those bags, what I mean, to those guys and, ladies or whatever, just to get it out there. I wanted to ask, so far, for any business that a person goes into, finances is always something that's involved. Overall, if you can say, how much do you feel like you've invested into this company so far?
Ah, man, 5 figures easily, you know what I mean? Definitely. And, I've had a lot of businesses throughout my life, and I've always been like, entrepreneur. I haven't had a job in 25 years, you know what I mean? And I ain't been homeless a day, you know what I mean? So saying that to say that, I know that in business, the first 60 to 90 days is going to come out of pocket. You know what I mean? You got to, carry yourself. So the stuff that I did drop, if it gets, the stuff that we did drop, if people buy it, cool. But I really just want to, I want you to see it, touch it, feel it. You know what I mean? If you're in the clothes, ain't too much hate. It's quality. Everything goes with everything. And so, I know fly stuff, man. I've been dressing my whole life. You know what I mean? I've been into fashion and wearing it, driving it, being there. So, I know what I know. And I'm not arrogant. I'm humble, man, as could be. But I know we got some heat. You know what I mean? Super flies.
Sir. Chapter 3 of where Detroit is going.
City of hustlers, man. And like I said, Detroit is a city of hustlers. And we want to, now people can see, hey, man, we can do this, you know what I mean, in our own city, And so I just like, hey, we been to the mountaintop and seen the promised land. We just came back, you know what I'm saying, to tell our people, hey, it's gravy over there, you know what I mean? So we did a lot of the legwork. You know what I mean? Through blood, sweat, and tears, you know? We just want to, humbly and with love, for our city, for, all the local creators, you know, we just want to, show them something different, and it can happen. It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
You said something off camera, and you was talking about the start, the quote unquote late start, right? And how you guys plan to be viewed. If you can hit on that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Today, 2025, we just bringing this here. Like I said, we've been, started in 18, but we're here. But well, all the things I'm saying, the what we have planned, we want to, we older. We're going to be the OGs. You know what I mean? Hey, Unc and them, they really put this thing together. And, they showcasing, allowing us to showcase our art. So again, we're going to be the OGs of it. You know what I mean? Not looking down on nobody who came before or after. It's all love, respect everybody. But, just like I said, just bringing this Detroit Fashion Week, that's unheard of. You know what I mean? Traveling from state to state, So again, all of this, we bringing together these genres, and that's, we want to be looked at, hey, the OGs put this together.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
In every profession, you never know how difficult it is. You never know what type of skills you got to have in order to be successful in it. For those who may not know, that may be looking to get into fashion, what is some of the unexpected difficulties or things that a person may need to know, being that you have experience in it?
I think you want to make quality stuff. You know what I mean? You don't want to, like Cole said, stick to the script. You don't want to, don't cut corners. You know what I mean? Buy quality materials. And you can't woo the people. You can't get over on the people. And sadly, the people, close to you, these are your biggest critics, through harmless ridicule, it could be the biggest killer of dreams, you know what I'm saying? And this is coming from your people, when Ray Kroc started McDonald's, they told him, man, that won't work. You know what I mean? So I think you just got to be diligent, stick to the script, again, don't cut corners, buy quality stuff, and you're going to get some no's, you're going to get no's, and just because you dropping something, it don't mean people going to buy it, again, I'm getting off on showing people the quality of what we have. I'm wearing it. My people wearing it. I'm telling my guys, man, where did throw some jewels on it, lace them, make it look good. Dress it up. So we wearing it. So that's the whole thing. I just want people to stay diligent, and again, people gonna say no. And like I say, don't let harmless ridicule, obscure you from your dream. You can do whatever you want to do, Before something happened, nothing happened. You know what I mean? So I tell people I'll never be the one to say, no, it won't work. Because shit, it might. You know what I mean? And I wish you well. So just stay diligent, stay focused and grounded, and, market your craft, keep it, stay at it. You know what I mean? I read a book, man, and the guy was talking about having confidence in yourself. And it said, every day he would walk to work or wherever, but he would cross a pond, a bridge. And he said to himself, hey, today, every day for the next 30 days, I'm going to throw a pond in the lake or on my way across the bridge. And so every day he threw a stone into the pond. He said, I'm not going to say, hey, I missed a day today, so I'm gonna throw 2 in tomorrow, or I'm gonna throw 10 in today, so I'll be good for the next 10 days. He said, no, I'm gonna do so. The goal of that is the gist of that is, how can you have confidence in yourself to create, a complete big task if you don't have confidence in yourself to create small, a complete small task? So that's, just stay grounded in your goals. Stay down.
Yeah, 100,
My
100.
man.
And Instagram handle, at the end, it has Paris. Why so?
Paris is the fashion capital of the world. You know what I mean? And again, like I say, our goal is we bigger than Detroit. We bigger than the United States. We definitely plan in the next few years to really be on Paris and runways in Paris. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal, and we just thinking big. You know what I mean?
Do y'all plan on doing any like custom jeans or?
Not to get too much up, but I'm looking at like Italian denim, real slick shit, man. We coming fly with the flies, I know this shit, man. You know what I mean? We've been wearing, so I ain't playing, man. We coming with it, so like I said, it's a high-end couture fashion line, Look at us like you look at Dior. Look at us like you look at Hermes, you know what I mean? You don't know them, shit, you know me. You know what I mean? You don't know his story. You know my story. You know what I mean? If you know my story. So, shit, yeah, but we coming, man. We aiming at, orca big, take it, we going global with it.
Real talk. Real talk, man. Well, we definitely, in full support. We definitely stand behind the brand. We vouch for the brand. The Foreign Magazine stamping the brand.
My man.
So if anybody, is looking, to purchase, we letting y'all know these the people that y'all should be getting with. High quality, good business, stand-up dudes.
Appreciate you.
You ain't got to worry about no janky.
Yeah, we ain't
business,
janky promoters, right?
None of that. This official, man. This is as official as it's gonna get, man. B, definitely appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Shout out to Jay. Man, anything that you want to tell your potential, buyers, anything that you want to tell the artists, the community within itself, because this is bigger than, like you said, just one genre. This is about the culture. At one point in time, hip hop wasn't just about putting lyrics on a beat. It was about the graffiti. It was about the clothes you wore, how you wore it. And
the beat, the boom box with the music. So all that right there, you got the dancers, you got the graffiti artists, you got the music. It was all culture. That was all, and so that's what we doing, man. We bringing it back.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that was a New York thing. We doing it D style.
Real
you know
talk.
What I mean? So
that's what you got to know, man. So
what size you wear?
Large.
I might have you something in the car.
My brother. That's what it is, man. Art imitates life. Y'all make sure y'all tap in, follow them on Instagram. Be sure to hit that follow button. Don't be late to the party. Make sure y'all able to say that y'all was tapped in with these brothers beforehand. Don't wait until they are ready. Well, in my opinion, they are already at the mountaintop. If y'all feel the quality of these clothes that they got, you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. But make sure y'all tap in. The Foreign Magazine, Pulse of the Culture. Art imitates life. We out. Peace.
Peace.